Hey guys, so I am at a point with the Mockingbird rebuild where I'm about to install the stainless steel frets, and I looked at the StuMac website, and I noticed that they want $30 plus $13 shipping and handling, so $43 for a fret slot or kerf cleaning saw for 23 thousandths inch kerf frets or tang frets, and I'm using stainless steel frets that have a tang of 23 thousandths of an inch. And I looked and I thought, you know, this is not even probably maybe an inch of blade. And I thought, well, you know what, I'm just going to make one myself. I did happen to have a Linux hacksaw blade laying around my shop, and I measured the Linux blade, and it is 23 thousandths of an inch, but that's not including the kerf. The teeth that are on the blade are set, so the kerf is wider than 23 thousandths, but we can file those off and cut our own teeth. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to make my own before I'm going to spend 43 bucks on that blade. And anyway, I had already made the video for this, how, you know, my fret holder, and posted it, and this demonstrates using VCarve Pro to make the toolpath so that you can take a piece of scrap lumber and turn it into a fret holder for refretting your instruments. And I thought, well, you know, this may be a good opportunity to demonstrate drawing this in Rhino 7, which is what I use for my 3D rendering, my modeling software. And anyway, this is what I drew earlier, and I thought, well, you know, maybe there are some people that may want to make these, and they may want to draw this blade. Now, keeping in mind, you really don't necessarily have to have a 3D rendered or a 3D model of this saw to make it. But I like to draw things before I build them. And anyway, this is the saw, the blade itself. I'll draw the handle in later. And I thought, well, let me see if maybe there are some people out there in the world of the internet and YouTube that may want to take a look at how to draw this saw blade in Rhino. So that's what we're going to do. So save the copy that I've already drawn. I'm going to go create new, and we're going to look at the small objects inches template for Rhino 3D. And my blade that I'm using is a standard Linux hacksaw blade. I'll post a link in the information for the video. You can buy these at, if you don't already have one lying around your shop, you can buy these at Lowe's, and they're fairly cheap. But it's almost exactly half of an inch wide, top to bottom. So let's start there, and I'm going to look at this top perspective. If you double click on that, it enlarges the window to full screen. And I'm going to click on, this is the Polyline. I'm going to click on Polyline, and I'm going to, where it asks me to start the line, I'm going to set X0, Y0. Just type in 0, 0 and hit enter, and that's going to take me to the origin. And then I'm going to move my mouse over into this direction. And then if you look in the command window, I'm going to make 1 inch of blade. So I type in 1 inch and hit enter. Now I'm going to scroll my mouse wheel up, and that'll enlarge the view. That's how you zoom in Rhino. Going in the same direction, or going in the up direction, I'm going to click 0.5 because it's half an inch and enter. And then I'm going to go back across to 0, and since I have the Smart Track on, I can go down here, and it'll track me to and snap to the 0 for the X. And then now I just go down to the start position and click left click, and it stops. And now if you look, highlight the segment we drew, it says one closed curve. So now we have one closed curve that represents a segment of what will be blade. Now when we started Rhino, we have some default settings, and in those default settings, mine I need to change, I guess, but it creates this default layer, and then these other extra layers in the layer manager. And we're not going to use all these layers, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight those two and delete them. I know I'm not going to use those. And the default layer, I'm going to right click on it and rename this layer, and I'm going to call this outline. And we're not going to keep any of this when we're finished. We're only going to keep the blade. And then so now we have the outline, and now I want to go to layer 1, and I'm going to rename layer 1, and I'm going to call this tooth positions. Okay, and I am using a standard ruler, just imperial. I have 1/16 of an inch segments on here, so I'm going to space my teeth 1/16 of an inch apart. So 15, depending on how you position it, 15 teeth per inch or 16 teeth per inch, depending on how you choose to position it. The way I'm going to position it, I'll have 15 teeth. But I also wanted to show you something. When I highlight this, what we drew earlier, because we started drawing a polyline and we didn't stop the command, it continued and made this entire closed curve. And I'll show you why I wanted to emphasize that. Well, I'm going to look over here at my layer manager, and I'm going to make the current layer the tooth positions layer, which is going to be red. I'm going to go back here to the polyline and left click on the polyline, and I'm going to click on this endpoint or intersection that will be the top of the blade. Now I've selected it, and I'm going to start moving in this direction, and I'm going to go 1/16 of an inch, so which is 0.0625. So if you take 1, divide it by 16, which I've already done, but this is what you end up with, 0.0625 in decimal. And I'm going to paste this in here and start moving in this direction and hit enter. And see, now it drew a red line 1/16 of an inch over, and I'm going to go on down here until I am perpendicular and intersect the bottom of the blade. Left click, and now that I'm done, I'm going to right click. Now I did this because I want to demonstrate to you, if you have a situation where you have joined curves and you don't want them to be joined, you highlight them and you hit this button that it looks like an explosion, because it is. This is explode, and what it does is it breaks everything up to whatever it is, the smallest division. So if it's curves, it breaks them down into individual curves. If it's surfaces that are joined together, it breaks them down into individual surfaces. And now see what this does for us. We can select the curve here, or we can select this curve. Okay, so now what we want to do, we want to spread these out for measurements all across the top of our blade. Now there are a few different ways that you can do this, and one good thing about Rhino 7, most things there are 2 or 3, several different ways to do. I'm going to demonstrate a different, first let's see. First let me demonstrate using the transform copy. Transform copy. If you look in your command window, it says point to copy from. I'm going to go over here at the beginning of at the top of our blade, and I'm going to click here, and now it says point to copy to. And since I'm using the transform copy, I left click, and as long as I don't right click or hit escape, it will continue to copy as many copies of this line or curve that I wish to copy. So let's go ahead and do that and get up. Cover the blade, okay, and now right click to stop. Okay, so those are our tooth positions. I'm also going to do some vectors, some curves that will become vectors later for tooth centers. Now, you don't have to do this. I'm going to do this because I am making a jig. Later, I'll use this to make a wooden jig where I can clamp a piece of steel or an old blade and remake this. So now I need to make it current. And you remember that little segment of blade of a curve? That curve I left up here. Watch how this is going to come in handy. I have my snap set also to the midpoint, so I'm going to choose a polyline again and see how it lets me snap to the middle. I'm going to snap to the middle, and I'm going to draw another line that's perpendicular to the top of the blade. And again, I'm going to highlight this. This time, let's use this copy here. Copy command. Now it's going to ask me where to copy from and then where to copy to. Okay. Oh, messed that one up, didn't I? Okay, so now I have tooth positions and tooth centers, and I'm going to double click this top viewpoint port, and it'll zoom back out, and I can look at all four ports or views. And if you look, you can drag these and enlarge the view that you want enlarged. This is perspective, which is the 3D. Of course, we don't have anything 3D yet, but okay. So now I'm going to double click on this. So we're going to be using a triangular file for sharpening the teeth once we start notching this blade, and they're at the faces on the file are 60 degrees apart. So we're going to click anywhere up here, it doesn't even matter, and we're going to go to layer 3. Yeah, let's do layer 3. We'll leave it blue, and we are going to click on the corner of the top of our blade. Anywhere here, it doesn't matter. We're going to trim this in a minute. Now we're going to select that segment we just drew, and then we're going to say transform, rotate. When we go to rotate, the software is going to ask us where the center of rotation is going to be based upon, and then it's going to ask us for the first reference angle, and that's going to be the end of our line. Now we're going to go. We're doing 60 degrees. Okay, and I hit enter. Now watch. I hit line, and let's do here. Selector, curve, rotate here to here, or that would be the center, and we're going to go minus 60 degrees. Okay, because we're going the opposite direction. Okay, now if you look at our tooth spacing, we're going to click on this curve, and we're going to use this move command, and it's going to ask us where to move from, and we're going to click on that mark and we're going to go over to this mark. Now that these are intersecting, we can highlight both of these and we can type in the command trim. And it's going to ask us the objects to trim. And you probably noticed I drug from right to left. So in Rhino, if you want to highlight an item and you want to highlight a single item, if you drag from left to right with your right left mouse button in and let off your button after the selection window is covering your object, it will only select an object that the entire object is in that little view window. If you want to select everything that's attached or connected or overlapping or intersecting, if you drag from right to left, everything it touches is selected. Okay, so now we have one tooth, except for now the tooth is of course above our workpiece. I'm going to temporarily select those and type in join, and that'll join them together. If you don't remember that, which you should, but you can go to where it looks like two puzzle pieces been placed together. That icon is also joined. And now we're going to take these two segments that make up a tooth, and we're going to move them. Select the point, center point. Okay, so now that we have one set or one tooth, we'll highlight that tooth. We'll go to transform and then copy, and then you can do it here or you can do it here. Either one's fine. I'm going to use the bottom of the base, left base of the tooth, but you can, anywhere that you can align these is fine. It's up to you. Oops. Yeah, I'll just delete it out. I also have near selected, and I need to uncheck that in my snap settings. Or yeah, down here I'm going to uncheck near. Okay, so now we have all of these teeth, and they're all aligned onto the blade, and it's 2D. Okay, so now is a good time to save our work. We're going to say save as, and let's just call this blade segment. Call it whatever you want. In fact, no, let's call it fret kerf cleaning blade. Good enough. And save. Okay, so now you saved your drawing, and you have a 2D copy of your drawing. Now, we don't need all of this outline stuff now. So let's click on that outline, and keep in mind it's all, right now it's a closed curve. So let's hit our explode, and then let's delete this top line. Let's delete that little fragment, okay? And then I want to show you another, well, first let's cut these off. I'm holding down shift when I want to select the more than one object. So I'm holding down shift, I'm going to hold down shift again and right click, and left click and drag left to right. And now, now that I've selected it, I'm going to type in trim, and I'm just going to trim these off. Okay. All right. So these really don't have to be in this outline anymore. And what we can do is I want to show you how to change layers. We're going to select these three. Temporarily, let's join them. And again, that's either this icon or type in join. And now let's go up here while we have them highlighted and type in change. And if it change layer is the command, keep typing, and eventually it'll come up to whatever it recognizes that you may want to use. All right, and then we have this layer 3. That's where we're going to move them to. So now the teeth and this outline of the blade are in the same layer. Now you can round this off the radius if you want. I'm not going to, because this is going to be a cut off segment of my hacksaw blade that'll be residing inside an oak handle, small oak handle. Okay, but see these lines here? We don't want these to get in our way and confuse us, so let's go back to the outline layer and select it, and let's click on this polyline, and let's draw a line across here. Left click, drag and highlight all of these, and type in split. It's going to ask you for the cutting object. Let's select this line that we added and hit enter. Now look at what it did for us. Every one of those lines has 2 segments now. So now what we can do is we can go over to our layer 3, and we can toggle the on off, which is the light bulb. And now anything we do to this won't impact layer 3. It'll only impact the visible layer. And now we can start up here really close to the top of these lines and drag and select them and hit delete. And now let's turn that back on. Okay. And it's a good idea to hit save from time to time. You don't want to lose all that work. Okay, so now we have this segment of the blade and we have the teeth. But our blade is 3-dimensional. It's not 2-dimensional. It's 3-dimensional, and it's 23 thousandths thick. And on top of it being 3D, 23 thousandths thick, it also has teeth that will be sharpened at an angle, and that angle will be 60 degrees. So that means that as you're looking at one side of this blade, every other tooth will be sharpened at where it's like a close view to you, that edge is sharp. And then if you look at the back side of that blade, the opposite is true. So what I mean by that is this tooth, this tooth, this tooth, this tooth, those will be sharpened toward us. And on the back side, this tooth and this tooth and this tooth will be sharpened going the opposite direction. So that means that we still have some work to do. And we also are going to need to copy all of this for reference. So let's go out of the top view, double click top, and let's scroll on up a little bit to our front view. And here, let's just double click to enlarge it. And let's select our layer 3 and the polyline. We're going to click over in this corner, and we're going to start going upward, and we're going to type in 0 or dot or 0.023. And now we have a 23 thousandths of an inch line there. Okay, so now let's highlight everything except for that line, and let's hit our copy icon and copy from here to there. Okay, so now what we should have, and by the way, while we're here, let's just go ahead and highlight that, copy from here to here. Okay. All right. So now, if you look in the perspective, double click on perspective. Now we have 3D version of the blade. Okay. Now, if you look at the teeth, we're going to sharpen this blade in a way that every other tooth will be sharpened like 60 degrees, like this edge will be 60 degrees, the skip one 60, skip one 60, and then we'll alternate. The back, it'll be 60, but going in the opposite direction. I'll show you what I mean by that. We're going to get our reference marks. If we go from here, it should be plenty long enough. Here to here with a line. Now we select that curve and we say transform, rotate. And this is going to be the center of rotation. And we're going to go, yeah, so minus 60 degrees. And if we rotate this view, what you should see is, you should see that minus 60 degree line intersecting with the back. Sorry, I'm really sleepy, I apologize. Alright, so now we have to turn around and do the same thing from the opposite direction. So we're going to click on a line, start our line. I'm going to draw it out here in space somewhere, and that's fine. And we're going to select the line, transform, rotate. And we're going to say, hey, this is the center of rotation. And this is my line. And now I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to go 60 degrees. And we're done. Okay, so now we go over here and we look, and we have these two lines protruding through that back crossing line that we used for a reference, and that's why we drew that line. So now let's use our new command we just learned a little while ago, and let's highlight these two, and let's say split. And now that we hit this line, and now those two are split there, and we can hit delete. So now what we're looking at is this is where we should be touching the blade when we start sharpening this blade at a 60 degree angle. And this is, you know, 60 degree opposite is actually minus 60 degrees, but anyway, complementary. So now that we have that, we can cheat a little bit. We can take these two, lines that we've already made, and we can copy these, and we can take these up here. So now we can copy these, highlight them, hit copy, and we can take this edge, and we can bring that edge to here. Okay, now we got a copy, and now we can highlight those two again, and transform and rotate, and we can say this is going to be the center of rotation, and then we can pull that whole thing apart around just like this. And now we still have them highlighted, right? So while they're still highlighted, we hit move, and we take this intersection and we drag it over to here. Now I don't know if you're starting to realize, or if you're starting to recognize what we have going on here, but now we have these intersection points that we can use for this back triangle that will be the end of the cut. We just simply click on this, explode it. We're going to explode all of them in a minute, but take that segment and hit move, and move it from here to here. Take that segment, move, and move from here to here. And just like we did before, we can highlight this whole thing and type in trim, and then select these two segments, and there we go. So now we have the back, we have the small triangle size, right? So now we can highlight that small triangle, and we can hit copy, and we can copy from this position over to this position. And now we don't need this one anymore. This is what all of your segments are going to look like here in a moment. And now we have to do one more small triangle segment. Okay, and how we can do this is, and again, it's all about speed. And if you look, we already have a segment that represents what this tooth is supposed to be. So if we go here and highlight that triangle and we hit copy, we can copy it from this point and paste it at that point. And then there we have it. We have full teeth. We want to leave layer 3 on. We want to click on the polyline. Every one of these areas needs to have a curve. Okay, so that's done. Sleep deprivation sucks. Okay, line from here to here. Okay, right click from here to here. Right click again from here to here. Right, and we're about to be at a point where we can copy all this stuff. Okay, all right. So this is nothing more than a continuation of these segments. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and close everything up. We have to make some surfaces. Okay. All right, now let's go to the outline and turn that outline off. And what you'll see is, we have this segment, this segment, this segment, this segment, the opposite segment, and then this opposite small segment. So now we really have everything that we need to finish making the blade. So what we're going to do, we're going to cheat. We're going to take all of, first I want to show you a hide command, okay? All right, left click and drag all of these and type in hide. It didn't delete them, they're just hidden from view right now. And then now let's move this around a little bit, and let's see, we have to keep that segment, but we don't need these segments. I'm going to hide. Same as this, same with this, hide. Okay, so now we need surfaces, okay? Not curves, we need surfaces. So let's highlight a curve. We're going to highlight these 3 curves, and we're going to start typing in planar surface, okay? And it did surface it, but we need to change our view. We're in wireframe. Go to shaded and you'll see the surface. So now we right click here and hit curve. Left click, curve, shift. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, so we have to explode this stuff. Okay, all right. So now left click and select the curve. Hold down shift and select these, and planar surface. Okay, now just like we did a moment ago, we're just going to right click to use this command again. Left click to highlight everything, right click. Okay, select these, curve, right click these. Right click. So now that we have all of these surfaces, we're going to take these surfaces. We're going to select the surfaces, those surfaces, and join them. Let's don't join the back yet. You'll see why. We want this surface copied to here. So now we're going to highlight that, and we're going to hit the copy command, and we're going to click on that corner, and there. And there. And there. And there. And there. And there. Okay. So now we can go over here and select this segment and this segment and join those. Okay. And now we're going to go over here to this last segment, and it's hanging over, right? And we already have a curve there underneath here. We have a curve here. So we're going to do just like we did before, and we're going to highlight this, and we're going to type split, and the splitting object is going to be this curve. Well, and then we select that piece and delete it. Okay, so there are all of our teeth. So now we can take all this other stuff and turn these layers off. Okay, and we'll go over here, and you know how we did the planar surface. We'll select, we'll explode these, and then here, 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 and you can hit curve or the edge of the surface. Oh, sorry, it's asking me to explode. All right, click to yes, planar surface. Okay. Okay, planar surface. Okay, all right, so now surface, we're going to join these. Now hit join. Those are still highlighted, right? Just shift, join. I'm basically just keeping them highlighted, and holding shift and left clicking, and then right clicking. So I'm just continuing down. And if you notice at the end, it says two surfaces or poly surfaces joined into one open poly surface. So this is an open poly surface because it doesn't have the front or back in it. Now, there's an easy way to do that, and all we have to do that is click on the poly surface and type in cap, and now the software created cap. Created a cap on the back and the front. and you have now created saw teeth. Now watch, we highlight the poly surface and we say change layer, new layer, and we call this layer blade, and we hit OK. We leave it black. We change the material. We add a new material. We're going to use a metal material. We're going to change the color. We're going to go pick something that looks kind of like a blade. We're going to hit OK, OK, and we'll select this layer, turn this layer off, and now change to rendered. And now you have a blade. And you just made a saw blade. Okay, if you followed along anyway. Let's go back to shaded. We'll just turn the layers off. That way if you want them, you have them. But anyway, that's it. That's for the blade segment. Now just save your drawing, and there you go. You just created a blade. When I come back, which I'm not sure how long it'll be, the next part, we'll make a wooden handle. Please like and subscribe, and post some comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if anything I'm doing is helping, or if there's something that you would like for me to do differently. Anyway, have fun.